All right. Welcome to week 7. Hope everyone's doing well. This week, it's our habit number 3 implementation week. Our habit number 3 is early dinner. Last week, we had the awareness week, and this week, we're talking about implementing early dinners. Let's begin the session, as always, with presence pause and breath regulation. I invite you all to gently close your eyes and be seated in a comfortable position, and optionally close your eyes. I'm going to guide you through presence pause and breath regulation. Begin by bringing your awareness to your breath. Just watch your breath without labeling anything. Shift your attention to your stomach. Notice any sensations in your stomach. Now move your attention to your feet. Observe the sensations on your feet. Now notice your posture. No need to fix anything, just watch your posture. Now bring your attention to your mind. Watch what's running on your mind. Now, how alert or tired do you feel in your body? How alert or tired do you feel in your body? And where do you feel it in your body? Where do you feel it in your body? Just notice. And bringing your attention back to your breath, let's take 3 deep breaths with longer exhales. On the count of 4, inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now gently open your eyes. I hope you all are getting a chance to practice the presence pause and breath regulation every day. Even if you're not, I would invite you to start practicing it whenever you can remember, no pressure. Remember that it's always available for you to practice. And I hope you're making good progress with the 4-point hydration rhythm as well. And last week we were talking about early dinner and awareness. Let's do a quick refresher of what we discussed last week. Let's begin there. So we discussed that early dinner helps align our body with the natural evening rhythm. We spoke about Ayurvedic evenings, especially between 6 to 10 p.m., We discussed that it's a settling phase, what Ayurveda calls the kapha time. So the body naturally starts preparing for rest during this time. During the day, the body is mostly in intake mode. We are eating, working, thinking, interacting, and taking things in. But as evening comes, the body gradually shifts into rest and repair mode. This is when the system wants to slow down and starts processing and restoring. If we eat late, especially close to bedtime, we're asking the body to stay in intake mode when it's trying to move to rest and repair mode. And naturally, digestion also becomes slower after sunset. So, late or heavy meals can take more effort to process. So, that's why we discuss that late dinners can disrupt this body's nightly repair process. It affects sleep quality, it causes nighttime blood sugar fluctuations, and sometimes leads to morning heaviness or even false hunger, right? So, this is why we should have early dinners. Last week, you were asked to observe 5 things about your current dinner patterns. Firstly, you were asked to observe what time do you usually eat dinner. And after dinner, observe your energy level, your mental clarity, whether you feel light or bloated. And also notice how hungry you are after dinner. And if hunger shows up, was it true hunger? Was it thirst? Are you drinking water after dinner? 1 hour mostly after dinner. Is it if you're hungry, is it stress or tiredness or boredom? What is it? And you were also asked to observe what time you go to sleep, what is the gap between dinner and bedtime. And finally, the next morning, notice how you wake up and whether you're waking up hungry. And we discussed how that could be a sign of improper blood sugar fluctuation. So now let's talk implementation, right? Let's start with the timing window for dinner. Ideally, dinner works best in the window of about 5 to 7 p.m. This is when your digestion is still reasonably strong and the body has enough time to process the meal before sleep. And this timing again is not fixed for sure. It can vary based on which season you're in, when your day ends, in the location that you live, the climate, various things. But roughly, this is the time period that is ideal for dinner. And you can really optimize this time by practicing early dinner and figuring out what time works best for you. But around this time, 5 to 7 p.m. is in general an ideal time. But if that feels too early right now, an acceptable transition range is anytime before 8 p.m. If you're eating later than 8 p.m., you can start by eating before 8 p.m. to begin with, and then slowly make change to eat earlier. This alone can make meaningful difference. You needn't make big shifts at once. And what we really want to avoid as much as possible again is regularly eating after say 8:30 or 9 p.m. Especially if dinner is close to bedtime. That's when digestion and repair compete with each other. So earlier is usually the better. But I want to highlight a very important point here. Although earlier is better, consistency matters more. Consistency matters more. The goal is not to chase a perfect time. The goal is to find a realistic dinner time that you can maintain most days. So you'll be asking yourself, what is a dinner time that you can realistically manage at least 80% of the days? Right? So, what is the time that you can realistically manage at least 80% of the days? And why is this important? Because the main thing I'm highlighting in this program is rhythms, right? This steady rhythm is what helps the body settle and trust the routine. The body feels safe and predictable. all your hormone functions, they're sensitive to time, they're sensitive to day and night. So when dinner happens around the same time on most days, your digestion knows when to prepare. So it releases enzymes efficiently or at that time. Hunger signals become clear, and your digestion and the entire mechanism works more smoothly. And irregular timing could keep the body guessing. Some days it prepares early, some days it waits. And this lack of predictability, the lack of rhythm, it can surprise your body, and your hormonal function would be disrupted. You would not be digesting your meal well, and it impacts digestion and overall downstream everything. So instead of choosing an ideal time on paper, choose a time that really fits your real life schedule, your work schedule, or your children's routine, your evenings. So even if that is, say, 7:30 or 8 p.m., but if it can happen regularly, the body benefits more than, say, eating at 5 p.m. on one day and then 8 p.m. on the next day, you know? So consistency is important. It teaches the body when to expect nourishment and when to begin rest. And over time, this rhythm becomes automatic. You'll start feeling naturally hungry around the same time, and also sleep may begin to settle more easily. And although I said this, remember that our bodies are quite complex structures. They always can learn and adapt. And that's why we don't really go strictly by rigid rules. Just because I said 5 to 7 p.m. is ideal doesn't mean everyone should suddenly start eating at this time. If you're used to, say, 10 p.m. as your dinner time, if you make a drastic shift overnight, that can be stressful for the system again. So that could disrupt all the system, and you could feel more hunger, irritable, low energy. So the body needs time to adjust. So the goal is really not perfection here. Make steady progress and slowly shift your time instead of making a drastic shift at once. Okay. So small shifts work best, and let the body adapt gently and naturally. Okay. So let's discuss some challenges that we often see with having early dinners. Many times we could have late work schedules, children's schedules, and evening hunger spikes. Or if you snack heavily in the evening, you could not be hungry enough at dinner time, and you end up pushing your dinner to a later time. And sometimes social obligations, or having dinner with friends in at a later time, or like cooking late. And sometimes your lunch could be delaying dinner time. So all of these, there could be a lot of other challenges as well that you need to manage in order to have early dinners. So it's not a simple decision, but you need to take care of a lot of your lifestyle to really adapt and have this change work for you. So let's discuss some tips and tricks, some hacks that can help you make this shift. Okay. So first thing is reducing evening decision fatigue. Late dinners often happen because we decide what to eat too late. But if you can plan your dinner earlier, if you can plan what you're eating, meal plan, like say every once a week, you can meal plan for the entire week. That really helps you reduce this decision fatigue. You don't have to, like, at 5 or 6 p.m. say, what do I eat for dinner today? You can plan it ahead, and that really helps have an early dinner. You can keep a rotation of simple dinners. You can repeat meals during the week, or you can have like a default dinner for busy days. This is what I do. Like when I do not have time to prepare dinner, I always have my default dinner as khichdi. So I just put some rice and dal and cook it, and it's an easy thing to prepare. So having a default dinner where you don't have to think about what to eat is a good idea. And next up is keeping dinner partially ready. Sometimes preparation, if it can happen earlier, that can reduce the stress of preparing dinner late. So it can make a big difference. Meal prep can make a big difference. You don't really have to start from scratch every evening. So do simple meal prep, like chop vegetables in advance or prepare the dough earlier or soak lentils beforehand. And you can also reuse lunch for dinner. You can eat leftovers from lunch. That way, dinner can stay simple and repetitive. And it's important to make dinner simpler. Many families I see eat dinner late because dinner becomes the main cooking event of the day, and it becomes like a much more richer meal than lunch, because we don't usually have time to have a good lunch because we're busy working. But that doesn't really align with the body's rhythms. We need to shift more nourishment to lunch and keep our dinners simple, because our digestion is stronger during lunchtime and it gradually reduces by dinner time. So make lunch the main meal. You eat a satisfying lunch, including grains, protein, or vegetables, and healthy fats. And that should carry most nourishment for the day and keep your dinners more simpler. You can do one pot meals or limit the number of dishes. So that makes it easier to prepare dinner and have an early dinner. And most importantly, it's important to stabilize hunger during the day. Early dinner really becomes difficult when hunger builds up until evening. Many people, we don't I observe, do not have enough during the day, earlier in the day. Skip breakfast, have a very light lunch, and what happens is the hunger starts building up, and suddenly evening there's a huge hunger spike, because of which they end up snacking. They have heavy snack in the afternoon or early evening, and they don't feel hungry enough for dinner. So this is disrupted rhythm, right? Delaying dinner and overeating and craving heavier foods during evening is all disrupted rhythm. So planning dinner at the right time means planning your lunch and your snack too. Make sure you eat a good portion of lunch around the right time, maybe around 12 p.m. or 1 p.m., and have a snack if needed, but have a light snack. And if you create this rhythm consistently, you'd be hungry enough for dinner. And that's going to be important. So eat a satisfying lunch and avoid long gaps as well, because you can end up feeling overly hungry and snack a lot. And keep snack structure, like plan your snack ahead too, so that you don't binge on snacks. And next up, oftentimes, like, we try to eat dinner along with the family, and that could delay our dinner time. Well, if you really want to make this habit work, you could adopt an early dinner for all of your family. But if that's not feasible, you can still plan to have early dinner yourself and then just join your family dinner later, but not eat at that time. Just spend time but not eat. You can still keep this routine for yourself in spite of your family schedules. And then have a plan for late dinners. I know it's not always possible to eat dinner early. Some days you may have to attend a party or like go out late. And in that case, one healthy thing you could do is eat smaller portions of dinner if you're eating late, or eat lighter foods and avoid fried foods or desserts. But let's be realistic, that's not always possible. If you're going for a late night party, sometimes you may want to binge, and that's okay. But I have some tips if you want to do that. You can probably take CCFT for digestion after you eat a heavy dinner. And the next morning, maybe you can go easier on breakfast. And one thing that I see most people make a mistake with when they plan to have a late dinner is they skip lunch, or they skip breakfast. Like they don't eat well throughout the day because they plan to have a heavy dinner. Now that's a blunder. According to Ayurveda, it doesn't work that way. That I know with the concept of calories, you may want to limit your calories earlier in the day because you're eating more later in the day. But that's not how it works. It's about regulating your Agni, which is your digestive fire. And your Agni is, if you really starve yourself, it's going to go down. So eating a late dinner, which is heavy dinner, at a later time with an already diminished Agni is going to give you digestive trouble. So you're not going to digest your food well. So it's important to still eat your lunch right, and even have a snack just to maintain that digestive fire up and running. Have a light snack before you go out to eat heavy dinner. So that's going to be an important tip. So start small. I'd say start with one change, like cook dinner, say 30 minutes earlier than you usually do, or like eat before 7:30, at least like 3 days a week, 4 days a week. So start with small steps like this if it feels overwhelming for you. Many of you may already be having early dinners. In that case, you could continue having early dinners. Just make sure you stay consistent with the time. And yeah, make sure you have lunch right so that dinner can be right. And prepare dinner earlier, and also observe and notice how you're snacking and make sure that's not disrupting your dinner. Finally, let's talk about what you eat for dinner. I have some general guidelines according to Ayurveda here. As we already discussed, digestion is lower during dinner time, so keep dinner light. Lunch has to be the main nourishing meal of the day. Dinner supports gentle digestion and overnight repair. And prefer warm and freshly prepared foods as much as possible. Warm foods are really important because they're usually easier to digest than cold or heavy meals. Ayurveda does not recommend raw salads, for example, for dinner, because raw and cold means heavy on digestion. So prefer warm foods like soupy foods with like good healthy fats for dinner. And choose simple and easy to digest meals with fewer ingredients. Simple combinations are usually better tolerated and better digested at night. And also include fiber in your dinner, but also avoid heaviness. Vegetables or simple plant foods, they support digestion and they help maintain steady energy without overloading the system. So include a lot of vegetables, but also don't overdo fiber because again that could disrupt your digestion. And moderate amount of protein is important, but dinner usually does not need as much protein as lunch. So heavy protein rich meals can take longer to digest at night, so it's better to keep them for lunch. You can also include gentle carbs like rice, sometimes rotis or grains. They help body relax and feel satisfied, and that's going to be important for a good night's sleep. So completely avoiding carbs may not work for everyone. It depends on what your body type is and other factors. But you can include gentle carbs, but don't overdo carbs again, because that can lead to blood sugar dysregulation again. So these are some tips for you to have early dinner and eat your dinner right. Any questions? We're at the end of our session. If you have any questions,
మౌనిక,
yes, Nati.
అంటే నేను మీకు అందరు అడగకుండా ఛాన్స్ ఇవ్వకుండా నేనే మాట్లాడుతున్నాను అనుకోకు, నాకు డౌట్లు ఎక్కువ. ఒకటి
No.
ఏమంటే, ఇప్పుడు మనం మామూలుగా నేను రెగ్యులర్గా కొన్ని ఏళ్ళ నుంచి నీతో మాట్లాడుతున్నప్పటి నుంచి కూడా నేను అర్లీ డిన్నర్ అంటే ఆల్మోస్ట్ 7:30, ఇంకా లేట్ అంటే 8, అదే మెయింటైన్ చేస్తున్నాము. మధ్యలో స్టార్టింగ్లో అంటే ఇప్పుడు మీతో మన దీంట్లో మీటింగ్లో జాయిన్ అయిన వాళ్ళకి కొంచెం వాళ్ళు మెయింటైన్ చేసేటప్పుడు కొంచెం ఆకలి అవ్వచ్చు కొంతమందికి. ఇప్పుడు 9కు అట్లా అర్లీగా తిన్నాక ఇంకా అంటే పండుకోవడం వర్క్ వల్లనో లేకుంటే ఏదో పని వల్లనో ఏదో పండుకోవడం లేట్ అవుతుంది. మేమంటే అర్లీగా పండుకుంటాం కాబట్టి ఆకలి అనేది కొంచెం అంత అనిపించదు. ఒకవేళ 10కో 11కో పండుకుంటారు అనుకో కొంతమంది పిల్లలు, వాళ్ళకి ఆ టైంలో ఆకలి అనిపిస్తుంది. అలాంటప్పుడు ఏదన్నా కొంచెం తినడానికి ప్రయత్నం చేయొచ్చా? ఇట్లా లైక్ డ్రై ఫ్రూట్స్ కానీ,
No,
కొంచెం
that's a
అదే
great
ఇట్లా
question.
మజ్జిగ అని.
Yeah, thanks for the question. So it is quite possible that if you sleep, you may plan to sleep earlier, but sometimes it may get delayed. In that case, one of the best things to have just before bedtime is a cup of warm milk, preferably spiced with turmeric and a little bit of spices like ilachi or pepper, whatever suits you. Spiced warm milk is one of the best foods you can have before bedtime because it is sleep inducing. It helps with sleep, especially for younger kids. It's a good food. If you're intolerant to milk, or if you do not want to have milk, another good option is probably something like almond milk, which is more on the lighter side, but not. I would avoid heavy foods like eating a handful of nuts at night time is not a good idea because nuts are quite heavy. But anything very light is okay. But milk is one of the best options. You can also add like some nutmeg to the milk because it helps induce sleep.
షుగర్
Sugar is better to avoid. If you really want sugar, like you can have a little bit, but better to avoid.
jaggery you can add in that.
I would prefer sugar like mishri, like
Yeah.
date sugar
Okay.
is a good idea. At night time, date sugar or mishri, rock sugar.
అంటే కొంతమంది ఏం చేస్తారంటే, ఆకలి నీకు మీటింగ్ ఉందేమో, కొంతమంది ఆకలి వేస్తే అంటే అరటి పండు తినడము ఇట్స్ ఎ గుడ్ ఐడియా వద్దంటావా అది?
Yeah, no fruits because it creates acidic environment in the gut. At night time, fruits is not a good idea. No fruits, no heavy foods, very light milk or almond milk is one of the best options.
నో ఫ్రూట్స్ అంట.
Yeah, no fruits.
అది అంకుల్ కోసం చెప్పిస్తున్నా మళ్ళా. ఓకే అమ్మా, వెరీ గుడ్ ఎక్స్ప్లెనేషన్.
Yeah,
బాగా అర్థమైంది.
yeah.
థ్యాంక్ యూ.
All right. Thank you.
ఓకే.
See you all next week.